Phillippe Cousteau. Welcome. How are you?
I'm terrific. How are you doing?
I'm having a great day, and it just got better with you joining me for the Valder Beebe Show audience.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You always have great information as we see you on multiple platforms, and we know you're an environmental advocate. So let's talk about recycling a little bit. Is recycling failing us?
Well, unfortunately, in many respects, it is failing us. 8 out of 10 Americans recycle regularly and really care about the issue. And of course, across the country, people are highly concerned about the plastic pollution crisis. But which doesn't mean we shouldn't recycle. We should keep recycling. I'm going to say that. But unfortunately, a lot of the plastic that we put in those blue bins ends up in a landfill or the ocean, which of course is not the intent at all.
Okay, why aren't they being recycled? American consumers, especially people living in residential areas, we're taking it out to those blue bins, as you said, and we feel good about that. We think they're getting recycled.
And that's a good behavior. We need to keep doing it. But the problem is that some municipalities have not invested in the right infrastructure. Some companies, the way they produce and manufacture plastic means that it's actually not even recyclable in the first place. And the good news is there's a solution. I teamed up with SC Johnson and the Join Zuzu movement in order to help advance that solution. And that solution is legislation, extended producer responsibility legislation that requires companies to take responsibility for the life cycle of those products, provide systems for municipalities to have a reliable system recycle so the consumers that are already doing the work know that the plastic they put in those bins will actually be reused.
Okay, tell me about this initiative, because I heard it was based on Zuzu, a hermit crab. Is that correct?
It is. So Zuzu is the story of an adorable hermit crab that actually mistakes plastic for a shell and uses it as its own shell. And on joinzuzu.com, there's an amazing short film all about Zuzu, the hermit crab. Hermit crab is one of my favorite animals. I spend my life exploring the oceans. I see plastic everywhere, from the Arctic to the Antarctic and everywhere in between. And so that's why I teamed up with SC Johnson to help promote this movement, because again, there are solutions that exist. There are some pioneering states that have enacted EPR legislation, but we need a consistent federal approach to create a level playing field for companies and municipalities to know how they can institute better recycling that works. And so that's what the Zuzu movement's all about.
I want my audience to remember that Earth Day is coming up, and I'm talking to Phillippe Cousteau to inspire us and to get us on the right track. Let me ask you, I'm going to take this from Instagram because people are on multiple platforms listening. They want to know, is there truly a sea of plastic in the ocean?
So, unfortunately, there is plastic everywhere, from the big pieces of plastic that we see on a daily basis to microplastics and even nanoplastics. There's plastics in our brains, they've found, plastics in rain and in snowfall. So plastic is everywhere. Now, the gyre, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, is probably what your listener is referring to. There are circular currents in the ocean, in all the major parts of the ocean. The biggest one is in the Pacific, between Hawaii and the mainland. And yes, that concentrates in that circular current. It concentrates plastic pollution floating in the ocean. And it is this really thick soup of any kind of plastic you can imagine, from basketballs and buoys and shoes and massive, consumer products to tiny little microplastics. And it's in an area about twice the size of Texas. So it's a huge area of concentrated plastic, but there is plastic distributed one way or another throughout the oceans and throughout our planet.
Okay, this one comes from Facebook. The poster says, you've had Phillippe as a guest now. What can we do to make a difference rather than just knowing about the interview? What can we do?
And that's exactly why I'm part of the Zuzu movement of Join SC Johnson to do that. So we need to send a strong message to Congress that the United States needs a federal approach to recycling. We don't have that, and that's a surprise to a lot of people. We need a federal approach, a consistent level playing field so that we can scale solutions. Because there are solutions, right? We know that if producers of plastic play their part in creating products that are recyclable, take responsibility for the life cycle of those products. We know that municipalities and states step up with effective recycling systems. We saw this in British Columbia up in Canada, for example. They established an EPR system, and their recycling went from less than 10% to more than 75% of plastics that were actually reused. So we know this works. We just need a consistent federal approach here in the United States. It's a patchwork across states right now. And so join Zuzu.com. You can sign easily, in seconds, you can sign a petition to add your voice to this movement so that S.C. Johnson and our partners, Conservation International, my organization, Earth Echo, and others can bring that and build momentum in Congress for a federal approach. Across the political spectrum, people care about this issue. This is something we can all come together and something that we can solve.
Phillippe Cousteau, I thank you for your voice. I hear your father's voice. I'm old enough to know that. When I hear you speak, your passion, your dedication. So I want to thank you so much for trying to help us to have a better place to live on this planet. And thanks for being my guest on the Valder Beebe Show.
We're all in this together. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Valder Beebe, host of the Valder Beebe Show. We have over 1,000 videos on ValderBeebeShow.com and YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow. We upload new videos daily. Our site is a modern baby boomer platform with news and information important to boomers. Subscribe to YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow and stay connected as I interview the world's most fascinating people.